thank you guys so much for making it beautifully flawed. And of course, it's your girl RB back with another one for you. Just go ahead and take a look, guys. We are working today with sort of like a Gothic anti-Valentine look, and this is what I came up with for today. I really had a task working with this one, but I love the way it turned out. You guys can see. So guys, if you have not yet done so, please just stop and take a moment to just go ahead and hit that subscription button so you guys can be notified of all the looks that I do from here going on forward. And guys, if you are already with the family, thank you so much for keeping it beautifully flawed. And of course, I'll be asking guys to just share, like, comment. Isn't this worth telling someone about? So guys, I know you want to get on into the video to see how I created this look. So without further ado, go straight on in. Alright. Hey. So I already had one eye done under my brows, but not to worry. I'll be taking the same steps and I'll be showing you guys how I accomplished this look. So I'm using the black from my James Charles palette, and I'm just using it to outline the shape of the heart. I will say I did this, I had done the other eye before, but looking at it now, I realize there are different ways of doing this. But for future references, you guys can also make the outline of your heart much thicker, all right, to get a cleaner cut. But I'm using here a tiny lip brush. This lip brush was firm enough that I could use it to clean up the inside of the heart to get a better shaping heart. And I'm using my All About That base by J.CAT and in the shade Nude, and I'm just, as I said, cleaning up the inside of the heart so I can later on lay down the inside shadow. So I'm using my black liner because I'll be using a black eyeshadow, using like a dark liner or even pomade to lay down first. It helps you to have a darker black or black that you're not able to really see through. So I'm just laying it down and of course taking my flat shadow brush and I'm blending it out. So I'm just using a large shader brush and I'm pressing on the black eyeshadow, and of course it's from the same James Charles palette, and I'm also slightly blending out the edges because black is really a hard color to work with, so you want to take your time in doing so. In other shades it would be much easier to conceal the shade, but black is not a color that you want to really mess with. So I'm just taking my time to pack on and of course slightly blending out the edges. Using that dark shade from the Berries palette, I'll be laying it directly at the edge of that black and I'll be blending it out. Alright, so you really want to be blending. Blending this will give you that smoky look. To get smoky look, it's really in the blending of your shadows. And I'll be using that shocking pink from the said James Charles palette, and I'll be going directly above the shade that I previously laid down. All right, so we want to get that beautiful transition, and we also want to accomplish, or we want to achieve rather, in this look, a blended eyeshadow. So we're doing both. Getting a beautiful transition alongside getting shadows that are beautifully blended. I'm just going back over that middle shade, and that is really to not lose it, because you want to intensify your crease, as well as you want for your shadows to look seamlessly transitioned. So that's why I'll be repeating the colors. Sorry. So I'm using a very, very light shade from the Morphe palette, and I'm just using it to diffuse the shade. So I'm coming to the very front to make sure it's not too harsh, and I'm also using it as the last shade that is below the last shade on my brow bone. And this is really going to help your look to come together and look really blended. So I'm going back into the black, as you guys can see. I'm just taking my time with building the black. I also want to make sure the black is seamlessly blended into the shade that I laid atop it. I don't want to lose any of my shades, guys. So I'll just be repeating the steps and blending, repeating and blending. Getting onto the juicier side of things, I'm using a loose shimmer pigment, and I'll be using a flat brush to lay it down. I did realize, guys, that one of the heart was looking a bit different, and I think the reason the one that I'm working on looks better is because I basically had a feel of how I needed to achieve this look. So that's the reason it's looking different from the other one. But no heart is the same, right? No heart is the same. Alright, so what you guys can do, you can use a smaller brush, so you don't have to try to go in these corners like I had to. That's the reason I literally had to order some brushes, because I know the type of things that I like to do, and that was I had to get some smaller brushes. But you'll see those. I'll try to possibly do a haul for you guys, or an unboxing, whichever one comes first. Of course, I'm using my liner. I'm not gonna be doing any wing. I just wanted there to be a contrast between my between my lash line and my lash. Makes it look more uniform. I wanted to go over, guys, the heart. I just did not have the heart, pun intended. I just did not have the heart to mess with it, because I know I could not undo it. But what you guys can do, you can be a bit more creative if you're braver, and that's a thing too. I went ahead and I ordered things that would help me to make this particular job much easier. But you guys in future can also possibly try outlining it with a pink, a shocking pink, or even go back in with black. Alright, so I'm just showing you guys how I'm putting on my lash. The glue wasn't 100% dried as I thought, but I'm working with it. so I decided to do a bit of foundation with you guys. I haven't done so in the probably the last 2 videos, so I decided to just pop this right on in so you guys could have a foundation routine. But if you guys want to see my full foundation routine, you guys can always go back to previous videos and you will see me doing my foundation in full. Alright, so I decided this time around to use my beauty blender because that too is an option, and it does give you that airbrush finish that I'm always talking about. However, in past videos, if you guys don't know, I would normally use my brush and then I would go on in with my beauty blender or your sponge. Alright, so concealer that I'm laying down is the LA Pro Conceal, and it's in the shade Toffee. Alright, under eye I did not put much foundation there because I didn't want there to be too much of a build up. No, I allowed my concealer to sit for a while because I wanted to have a completely full coverage for concealer. I wanted under my eyes to be really bright this time around. And I also, which you guys would not have seen me doing in other videos with my concealer, doing this line, guys, will give you a much sharper or a more outstanding contour shade. So in past video I would basically use my powder to do this. So I would basically set under my contour area using my powder, but this time I decided to use my concealer. Alright, so that's something else that you guys can also add to your notebook if you didn't know. Alright, because some persons already would have had that knowledge on hand. Now I started to feel me. I really started to feel the look. Doing it, I felt more comfortable with how it was coming out. I'd already set down my Sasha Buttercup, and I was just I skipped that part, but I'm just using the brush, the setting brush, to set, also to give me a smooth blend in these areas, and to also remove any excess that would have been there. But yes, honeys, I was feeling myself. So of course I'm using my trusty black Radiance in the shade Darker to Deep, and I'm just doing my fish face so I can get more precise contouring. Doing this helps your powder to, in this case, to basically follow the shape of the face that you want to get contoured. Yeah. I will ask your forgiveness, guys, with the lighting. I promise you, moving forward, I am working with a ring light, but moving forward, I'm thinking of getting a pair of softbox, but just taking it a step at a time. All right, so I'm using those shades that I showed you from the Gemstars palette, and that I always use. I'm not a blush person, but using those colors for me tend to soften and also help to give me that nice blend with the contour shade and those shades afterwards. It really is a very complimentary look. So I use that instead of using blush. I'm using the same James Charles palette, and that palette is a very, very good palette to have. Let me just use this moment to say it's a really good palette to have because you're able to do so much from that palette. And I'm mixing 3 colors there, 3 shimmers to give me that highlight shade. Being creative, all right, making do with what you have. I will be using other palettes in future. I realize I'm using the same palettes for now. Nothing is wrong with that, guys, because once you're able to accomplish the looks that you have in mind, it's still good. I also want to be a bit more diverse and showing you guys other palettes that I will be using moving forward. Okay, so just of course repeating the black under eye and also the bright pink from the James Charles palette, and my look is almost complete. And I really want to thank you guys for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video. So just continue watching, guys.